Meal prepping for beginners in 4 simple steps. What is meal prepping? You preparing meals in advance. 4 simple reasons why meal prepping can be actually beneficial for you. First of all, it saves time. So if you prepare your meal in advance, you're already saving that time because you're not cooking every single day, 3 times a day. You just cook once and then you can eat. Second of all, saves money. So if you plan out what you're going to eat and you cook in bigger batches, it already saves money. Third of all, it's convenient. So if you prepare everything in one big batch and then you can just eat it, it's very convenient because you have that food on hand when you need it, when you're busy. And lastly, you make sure that you hit your macros with each meal and you don't have to track as much. So if you track your meals once, and then you know that this meal is going to hit all my macros, all my calories, that's much more convenient and you don't have to track as much. Now, before we get into the steps, if you want a free cookbook with 10 meal preppable recipes, very simple recipes, either go to ofitness.com or link in the description and get your copy right now. Let's get into the steps. First, in your meal prepping journey, you're going to need some equipment. So first things first, you're going to need to get some containers. Containers are going to be amazing to actually store the food and split it up into pieces. I suggest just getting plastic containers, at least like 10, and then you can just split up the food evenly and make sure that, with each meal, you're not taking from this big pot. You already have the container. You can just take the container and eat right away. Secondly, to actually figure out if you're making the right amount of food, you're going to need a scale. I mean, come on, get a scale. Track your food, and it's going to be much easier to stay on track with calories and to just weigh everything out the first time, and then you can just eat from those containers. And lastly, we want to establish a routine. So if you're experimenting right now with meal prepping, you don't really need a routine, but if you get deeper and you start meal prepping every single week, set a routine. Say, okay, I'm going to meal prep all my meals on Sunday. Every Sunday, you set this goal that you're going to meal prep and you're going to get it done. And then you do it week. If you have that routine, it's just easier to follow it. Now, the second step to meal prepping is going to be, you're going to have to figure out a couple macros, a couple numbers that you're going to have to follow. First of all, you're going to need to find your calories. How many calories do you want to actually meal prep? Are you currently trying to gain weight, or are you trying to lose weight, or are you trying to maintain? Figure out the calories that your meal prep can be. For us, let's say it's something like 2,000 calories per day. Now we need to figure out protein. For protein, you're going to want to stick to about 1 to 2 grams per kilogram of body weight every single day. So if you're something like 70 kilograms, then you would be eating 140 grams of protein every single day. That's about 560 calories of protein every single day. And for fats, you're going to want to stick to about 30% of your daily calories. So if you're eating something like 2,000 calories, that's going to be about 650 calories just from fats. And then lastly, for carbs, you're just going to want to fill in the gap. So whatever you have left for calories, that's what you're going to eat for carbs. In this case, it's about 790 calories. This is what you need to do for step 2. You need to figure out these numbers so that then you can actually write up a meal prepping plan. So 2,000 calories for our day, 140 grams of protein or 560 calories, 650 calories of fats, and 790 calories of carbs. That is what we're working with. Step 3, actually start to get to planning. So this is where you take out your pen and your paper, or you take out your laptop and you start writing up a plan. Now that you know the numbers that you're actually working with, you're going to need to select your foods. So what foods do you actually want to eat? What foods can you eat? For the foods that you're going to pick, you're going to want to pick very, very simple foods that only have they have dominating macros. So for example, something like chicken, it has a dominating protein macro. It doesn't have too much fat, it doesn't have too much carbs. This is a simple food. You can also pick something like rice. It has a dominating macro, carbs. It basically has only carbs, no fat, and no protein, not that much. And for fats, you can choose something like avocados. It has a dominating macro, fats, basically has only fats, not that much carbs, and not that much protein. So you want to select foods that are very simple so that it makes your planning process a bit easier. Now that you have actually selected those simple foods that you can mix together and make meals with, you need to figure out how many meals a day are you going to eat. So let's say you're pretty busy, you don't have that much time, make a 3-meal plan. Let's say you have a bit more time, you can spread it through the day, make 6 meals a day. You just need to figure out that number. What I like to usually stick to is 3 main meals and then 1 snack through the day to kind of fill in the macros. And when you have figured that out, last step is just actually writing up the plan, writing out how much weight of each food you can consume, and writing up a plan that you can actually prepare. So here's an example plan that I wrote up really quickly. For breakfast, you're going to eat protein oats. Very, very simple to make, very, very simple to store. You can store it in jars in your fridge. For second meal, for lunch, you're going to eat chicken, broccoli, and rice. Again, very, very easy to store in containers. For your dinner, you're going to eat something like pork, pasta, and spinach. It has that meat. It has the whole pasta, and it has some greens, so it has all the elements. And lastly, for a snack, you're just gonna eat something like fruits, nuts, or protein powder to kind of fill in your macronutrients that you're missing out on. Very, very simple plan, very, very simple to execute, and you can actually do it. You can actually store all of these foods in containers and you can actually meal prep this. And it pretty much hits all the macronutrients. It hits the protein from the protein oats and from the meats. It hits the fat from the pork and from the nuts, and it hits the carbs from things like broccoli, rice, pasta, and fruits. So it hits all the macronutrients, it hits the calories, it does everything, and it's very, very simple to prepare. And last step, cook. Make your food. See how it works out, you know, see if it's good or not, and actually test out your meal prep. Obviously, don't over prep. So if you prep too much food, it can kind of go bad. You know, don't prep for a month. Don't prep your food for months. Heat up your food. So if you're meal prepping, you're gonna be eating a lot of cold food. If you don't heat up, so use something like a microwave or an oven to really fastly just heat up your food, and your enjoyment is just gonna be that much better. And lastly, track your progress. So if you're doing a meal prep, you know, track how you feel over weeks and just make small adjustments and make sure that your meal prep actually works. And before you go, again, I just want to remind you, there is a free cookbook that you can get right now with 10 simple recipes that you can actually use to meal prep, to make a meal prep plan. So go to ofitness.com and get your copy, or link in the description. And again, with meal prepping, just, you know, stick to simple recipes, you know, Convenience is key, and make smart food choices when actually selecting those foods. And just experiment, honestly. So, thank you for watching, and have fun with your meal prepping, and see you in the next one.